Hi, my name is Zach Fisher, and welcome to another Tech Talk. Today I'm going to be talking about containers versus virtual machines. And I'm going to draw the analogy between the virtual world and the physical world. And I'm going to say that I'm going to start this discussion off with acting as if I am trying to decide on the strategy of colonizing a another planet. And there's a couple of spaceship designs that were given to me. And one is going to be representative of the container and because it has similar attributes. And the other is going to be representative of the virtual machine. So the container is over here. And the container is going to be a design that has small pods that are all working together. You can walk in between the pods, and each of the different crews can use the pods. So we're going to have a few different specialized crews. One is going to be the military and the military weapons. The other is going to be the farmers. They are going to be the farmers / the construction crew, and the others are going to be the scientists. And so each of those groups is going to have their own specialized equipment. They're going to have guns in case we run into aliens. On the military side, we're going to have terraforming and building equipment on the construction / farming side. And then on the other crew, we're going to have a lot of different scientific equipment, like microscopes. And so we've got those three different specialized functions and specialized groups of people. Yet we also have lots and lots of shared resources. This is going to be a very long journey, and we're going to have shared. Every crew is going to need water. Every crew is going to need food. Every crew is going to need living space. And so in this representation, each pod has a specific purpose. And so one of these pods is going to be for water, one is going to be for food, one is going to be for living space, another is going to be for the military equipment, the farming equipment, and the industrial equipment. So what happens if, in this situation, if one of these, so the water pod, the water, we have a little bit of an issue in the way that we are bottling the water, and we need to redesign the bottles that are coming out of the water source. Well, we can just look at a single one of these pods and fix that water source without having to communicate across all the different pods. So you can quickly make changes to each of these functions here. So that's kind of my small pods together, and they represent a container ecosystem. Now, if you think about the other design, there's another design that people are coming to me with, and that is with each of these specialized rocket ships. So, or each of these rocket ships for each of the different teams, but each rocket ship is not specialized. Each rocket ship has all of the different supplies that are needed in it. And in case one of these rocket ships does not make it, you know, we've got redundant supplies. Food is in all of these, water is in all of these, and if one of these rocket ships doesn't make it, then the food is there's still enough food for everyone in each of these rocket ships. So each of these rocket ships has redundant supplies in them. So this is similar to how I think of containers versus virtual machines. If you put an application that is designed on a Linux operating system to use the IP-based cameras, well, if you install that on a virtual machine, you're going to have redundancy in a lot of different functions. So that application is going to need to talk to the network, is going to need to talk to the firmware on the computer. It's going to have a NIC. It's going to have various different drivers regarding graphics, firmware, all of those different types of things. And in the virtual machine world, you're going to have multiples of each of those things. So that is a large inefficiency. Whereas in the container world, you have one specialized network interface card. And that is shared, that logic is shared across all the virtual machines that needs to use that, or the BIOS or firmware, all of those types of things. That is shared across all of the virtual machines that are, or excuse me, all of the containers that need it. So that's kind of the difference here, is that a virtual machine has redundant capabilities. It has redundant software that is installed, especially when you have a large amount of them on a cluster. Whereas a container, you can pick and choose the different lighter weight, faster services that you need that have already been developed. And then if you need to change things on a container, this is kind of what I was getting at with the water bottling thing example that I had in this. If you need to change things in a container, you can change a single container, whereas in the virtual machine, you're going to have, so if you have vulnerability in the Linux there's a specific driver in the Linux operating system. Well, in the container ecosystem, you can simply update that container. Whereas in the virtual machine paradigm, you would have to update every single virtual machine that has a Linux driver, which is probably the vast majority of which has that Linux driver, which is probably the vast majority of your VMs. So you might be doing something 1,000 times if you have 1,000 VMs running Linux. Whereas in a container ecosystem, you would only be updating that logic one time. So it's the degree of efficiency is much higher, the speed is much higher, and most applications that are being developed today are being developed in a container ecosystem. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit of the differences between a container and a virtual machine. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks. My name is Zach Fisher, and have a great day.